Game is a constant journey. What is something you have learned recently, even at your level?
Make sure she's not trans.
There's an
I'm not
apple, there's a
joking.
banana.
Bro, it's so real. We're laughing because it's fucking true. That's why.
Hilarious.
Well, I'll tell you
Oh my
something.
God.
I don't just live in San Diego. I live in Hillcrest, which is the gayborhood. About
Mm.
30% of my neighbors are whatever, non-binary, they, them pronoun, gender fluid, and you just don't know until you're you're there searching for the equipment, what's going on. It can happen to the best of us. So I would say that you better know. I wish I was joking. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not.
California. Jim.
It's not something that I guess I learned. I guess I had to relearn a couple of times, is that a woman's attention is worthless. It's only her compliance. And a lot of times as men, we get attention from women and we confuse that for compliance. And so we give them back attention. When a woman gives us attention, it's worthless. When we give our attention to her, our value drops. Just like the same thing with sex. When we give sex to a woman, it doesn't do anything to our value. It doesn't cost us anything to give sex. But when a woman gives a lot of sex to a lot of men, in society, sometimes her value can drop. So one of the things I just can continue to reiterate to my students is that when you give attention to a woman for reasons, just because she's physically attractive, one of the things you do is like your attention means less. You should give your validation and attention to a woman who actually gives you compliance. That's the only way I do it. And once you do that, when you can maintain that one masculine boundary, it's incredible. Because with Sadia Khan, she said something effective. What one thing all women want is a man they cannot manipulate. I love that. They cannot manipulate. So if you're in a situation where it's like, hey, just like you look, I had this discussion with some of the guys who were on my Monday call, my free call, and I was explaining to them, the way you know if a girl's not sleeping with a dude is he's the guy leaving the heart eye emojis on her photos on Instagram. You 100% of the time, she is not fucking that guy, right? And I had guys actually argue. I had photographers come on there. They were arguing with me like, no, I like girls' photos sometimes, and I give them comments. It's like, they're like, don't you encourage women sometimes? And I'm like, yeah, I encourage them when they come over to my apartment. Then I can encourage them when they come over, when they show compliance. I also say compliance is below the belly button, attention is above the belly button. So that's the thing you have to understand. When you have that understanding, I don't confuse a woman's attention for compliance. I only confuse compliance for compliance.
That's brilliant. You know, that's sort of parallel. As you may or may not know, I don't even want to say the word transition based on what I was like.
Ross, I'm 46 years old. I'm very familiar.
I've moved into the realm of teaching NLP and suggestive language for sales. And one of the things I say is rapport is way overrated. You don't want rapport, you want compliance. Rapport is only as good as it serves to create or to assist creating compliance. That's for sales, but I can certainly see, I've never heard anyone put it as succinctly before, that attention from a woman is worthless. It's compliance that's worthwhile. That's brilliant, but I'm right in line with that. I've never condensed it like that. That's really good. I'm definitely on the show, dude.
Fascinating.
Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I was just saying that.
When I was saying that, well, one of the things that I realized over the years, and I teach this, is that, you know, any type of resistance is some form of disinterest. And so this is why a lot of times I'm very direct with women, because what I noticed is that women are very clever. And this is kind of goes to what Michael was saying about just, you know, using a guy for attention and stuff like that. Women are very clever at making it seem as if my freaking camera's going crazy. But anyway, women are very clever at making it seem as if, you know, they're interested in you so that you can give them more attention, but they're not really following through. And so what happens is that if you test women to see how cooperative they're going to be, you'll notice sometimes they'll give you a little bit of resistance. And then you think that resistance means, well, maybe let me try harder. Maybe she's give me what they call the pickup artist, the shit test and all that other stuff. So what happens is that there's some form of disinterest, because when a woman is 100% highly interested in you, there's no resistance, meaning that she's going to follow your lead to the freaking, you know, over the cliff. And so what I noticed is that, you know, women who are actually really, 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 really into you, all you do is give them direction and they follow. Whenever there's any form of this, whenever there's any form of resistance, anytime that you keep going, you're going to find more resistance. So for example, if I'm on a dating app and I say to a woman, hey, meet me at this bar, 8 o'clock Friday. And if she says, well, actually, can we go to get dinner instead of drinks because I don't like to drink, right? That's a form of resistance. The reason why she's telling me that is because she's not 100% interested in me. The guy who she's 100% interested in, she's going to go where he says without any complaining, without any resistance. So I try to teach guys that is that understand that any form of resistance is a form of disinterest. Doesn't mean she's not interested in you at all. It just means she's not 100% interested in you, which is why there's some resistance there. But that's what I get it.
I can work with 80% interest. That's not, I can't multiply zeros, but work with 80%.
The other thing that I've had to relearn over the last couple of years, I used to manage a strip club like 25 years ago. And one of the things I've had to relearn is that women's necessity for attention, it actually probably exceeds men's necessity for sex. I cannot, like, the more I see panel shows where women go on there, get insulted, and then just go back on again. When I see nightclubs where there's girls who are like, I'm never coming back to this nightclub. I can't believe you guys are rude to me. They're the first girls back there the next time. Women giving attention to men who treat them poorly, all this kind of stuff. Women's necessity for validation and attention is equal to that, to a heroin addict's necessity for heroin. Like, it is one of the craziest things. And if you manufacture it, we did an experiment one time. Light nightclub. I don't know if you guys remember this. Used to be open in the Mandalay Bay. We did one time where we had these two red cameras, the Red Dragons, the real $38,000 cameras. We didn't even turn them on. We had two huge lights, and we just posted it on our, shined it on our table as if we were famous or we were shooting some kind of movie or whatever. Every girl in the entire club came over to our table. One time, we threw a party after the Super Bowl at this guy's house. It wasn't a super nice house, but it was up in the Hollywood Hills. And we put 2 step-and repeats there with lights on the step-and repeats. These are just like, like red carpets. There were no cameras. Every woman spent the entire time they were there on the red carpets taking pictures of themselves. Women's necessity and necessity for validation is more extreme than I even recognize. It's like, it's one of the craziest things I've ever seen. The level of abuse that women will take and the level of bad behavior women will accept if they're getting the validation and attention that they're looking for. That's something I've had to relearn.
It's crazy. I'm totally in line. I got to tell you a story. 2 nights ago, as a favor to my operations manager, because he's going to fuck this woman who's going to fly out, he said, look, will you do this podcast? It's hosted by this dumbass woman. But I said, okay, what the hell? I spent 2 hours just flailing her alive verbally, because she said, well, I have this problem. I have all these simps giving me attention and I don't like it. I said, don't tell me, let me guess. You're on social media, you post pictures of yourself in bikinis and all. She said, how did you know that? I said, well, of course I know that. I said, why are you doing this? If you don't like simps, let's talk about your daddy wounds and your childhood trauma that require you to get constant attention from men. And she didn't like that. She, I don't have any daddy wounds. Then why are you getting attention? Are these simps giving you any money? Well, some of them do, but most of them don't. I just like getting their likes and blah, blah, blah. And so this is really funny. It goes so far, even not, I could see getting attention from a simp who's giving her money, but she wants the attention from guys she's not interested at all. So you're absolutely right, Michael. It is addictive, and particularly because it comes through the form of something that's designed to give you dopamine addiction. The media, way back when I was like 10 years old, there was a book called The Medium is the Message by a guy named
Mushroom McLuhan. Yes.
You got it. So the medium here is addictive in and of itself, even if you were sending pictures of your cat's butthole.
Guys, imagine this. Imagine the concept of going on a date with a woman you weren't interested in having sex with. How crazy does that sound? You just wanted her attention. None of us on this call and none of the people who follow us would go on a date with a woman we had no intention of having sex with. Women do it all the time. In fact, I'll say the majority of dates now are women doing. Can you imagine going on a dating app for attention and have no interest in, like, no one you're right swiping with, you have any interest of having sex with? Could you imagine that? That you were so necessitous of attention that you would do something like that? We would never, as men, we would never do that kind of thing. In fact, I'll tell you, most of the guys here, if I was like, hey, your money troubles are taken care of, and you get no attention on social media, but you get all the sex from all the women you want, most of us would be like, yeah, it sounds great. That sounds fucking fun. I don't need the attention on social media. We are not necessitous of attention. But here's another big chain thing that I want to point out. My necessity as a young kid to better myself, to be more attractive to women, made me stronger, a better leader, a better speaker. It made me a better businessman. It made me improve as a human being. I'm not so certain that a woman's necessity for attention does the same thing to her to make her want to improve. That's all I'm saying.
Doesn't. It doesn't.
Such a good question, man. I have to ponder on it a little bit more.
Alrighty. MLD, are you here?
Hey, yeah, I am here. It's like 7 o'clock in the morning in Tokyo. I just tuned in. I just woke up.
Konnichiwa, konnichiwa. Anata kira det. Anata kira des. How do you say it?
What are you trying to say?
Trying to say you very beautiful. Anata kira
Anata wa kirei desu.
des.
Or
Yeah.
bijin. Bijin is the best way. It's a beautiful woman.
And manko.
Yeah, that's the most important one right there.
Manko. That's all I know, man. All I know.
I'm in bed with a girl right now. She's like, "Who's this man saying pussy on the phone at 7 o'clock in the morning?"
Tell her it's the living legend.
I was gonna say, are you able to put your camera on? But maybe not. But
No, it's
you're
like
you're in the fucking
7:58.
dark.
It's
Holy shit.
7:58 a.m. here. I'm in bed. What's up, Lucario? What's up? What's
Hold
up,
on, man.
everybody? They just dropped the link. I'm just trying to come in and support the young guy here.
Thanks.
What's going on?
We did have what was the last question I asked? Let me open it up. The question I asked, in case you want to answer it, gaming is a constant journey. What is something you have learned recently, even at the level you're at now? Maybe that's a bit
no matter
deep
how
for
good
early
you
in the
are,
morning.
no matter how good you are, bro, like some girls are just not going to be interested in you. And I think guys need to understand that rejection. The biggest thing is I think a lot of guys don't realize how much rejection is involved with even the most successful guys. Like even like the perfect people like fucking Justin Waller and shit like that. Like these guys get told no too. And I think a lot of the guys they take the rejection too personally. And you can't. It's like I always use the Big Mac menu as a an example, right? Like you got to find out what you are in life. You got to get in where you fit in, like some people go to McDonald's and they get the filet of fish, right? Some people go to McDonald's, they get the Big Mac. Some people get McDonald's to get to get a double cheeseburger, right? You got to find out your market and find out which girls like you and market to those girls. And then, just get in where you fit in. And then, reps are everything, reps are everything. Like the reason why these guys become so good is because they just do it again and again and again. I'm literally waking up out of a fucking slumber and I'm able to talk about game at a pretty high level here. I think a lot of guys are too afraid to get out there and put the reps in. There's a huge, these guys reject themselves before the girls reject them. And they take the rejection way too seriously. I just think they have to understand that rejection is a huge part of success in all aspects of life. And you're going to get way more rejected than you actually think you are, wherever you like mentally set out to do these things. And then sometimes, you're gonna pull a girl, you're like, damn, fuck, this girl's smoke show. And some girls are just into you. They just like you for you. Like they genuinely are, and you might think like, oh, this girl outranks me or whatever, but it's not. That's the wrong way to think. You just got to get out there and shoot your shot, and you'd be surprised who says yes and who says no. And just you got to take the feedback objectively, like a man too. Like if you look bad, if you have bad teeth, you have bad social skills, if you can't, if you're a shitty person, you do people dirty, and then the word around, catches up with you, and girls don't want to deal with you. You got to deal with all the consequences of your actions and optimize. Life is a game of endless optimization, as a man, if you want to be somebody, that is.
I'm putting that on my glass board.
What's that?
The
Life-
optimization.
Game of, did you say constant or endless?
Endless optimization. Life is a game of endless optimization.
I'm gonna put that on my Facebook. What is your name? Optimization.
Optimus Prime.
No,
No,
they
what do you go by? What do you go by?
MLD, modern life dating.
Got it. I'm gonna quote you and put it on my Facebook.
All right. Well, you see right there, the legend
And I'm also
himself.
gonna quote Michael, a woman's attention is worthless. A woman's compliance.
Compliance.
It's
Hey,
all
guys,
about-
when she sends you those nudes, when she sends you nudes, guys can mistake that for compliance. No, she sent those nudes to 31 other dudes. And remember, she sends you the nudes using her thumbs. That's above the waist. Compliance is when she comes over to your apartment nude.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
Ooh,
Sartain, you ever called them out? Do you ever call them out like, hey, don't send me your fucking copy pasta nudes. You better send me some
Yeah.
organic nudes. I tell them that. I'm like, you
Yeah.
better send me some
Dude,
nudes just for me.
When they ask me for nudes, I'll send them an actual picture of an eggplant. Just like big, large eggplant. Just keep sending them eggplants over and over again. It's so funny.
Can
why
I get
I
an
always demand-
original, authentic copy? No, not copy. Can I get the original?
This is
Yeah.
why I would never date a woman my age. Can you imagine nudes from that? I would be projectile vomiting across the room.
That'll probably
She would get
turn me
that-
gay. I don't know.
She would get that little bird from the Flintstones and like start chiseling it out on stone and sending it to you.
Oh man, oh niggly man.